Well, I have a Bible study today for you from Daniel chapter 1. I love the book of Daniel, and I love this character. I love this person, Daniel. He was a young man when he was taken away into captivity. In 605 BC, the Babylonians came in and they carried him away along with some of his friends from Jerusalem. And they took them about 900 miles away to the city of Babylon. And there he would spend his life. He would be in service to the king of Babylon. And we're told that he was probably about 15 years old when he was taken away into captivity. And he was an old man when this book ends. He was probably 85, maybe even 90 years old at the end of the book of Daniel. But he's an amazing man in that all throughout his life, we see him standing for the Lord. He never conforms to the Babylonian way of doing things, the culture of the Babylonians. He retains his values and his faith and his love for God all through these years. And the Babylonians were a very seductive society in that before the Babylonians came to power, the Assyrians, they were the world power. And they were brutal. And they would come in and they would conquer a people. And it's said that they would skin them alive and they would use the skin of these people for wallpaper on their walls. I mean, they were that wicked. When the Babylonians came, they had a different way of doing things. They would come in and they would take the people and they would bring them to their country and they would let them become part of the culture. They would just bring them in and let them become a part of everything. And when Daniel and his friends are brought these nearly 900 miles to Babylon from Jerusalem, they see this amazing city just standing before them. The walls of the city were 300 feet high. They were 86 feet thick. They were 15 miles long on one side. So you have walls of the city that are some 60 miles around. It was a massive, massive city. The Euphrates River went under the gate of the city. It meandered through the city. They diverted it also to make a moat around the city. And in the center of the city, they had the Hanging Gardens of Babylon that were 400 feet high. I mean, you have a wall that's 300 feet high, and you're looking at the city from a distance, seeing how massive it is. But then you see these gardens that are even above the wall. And it was like a pyramid, like a ziggurat, and they would have these levels, and it just kept going up and up and up and up. And they had these plants and trees and shrubs and flowers and just a beautiful, beautiful display that rose in the middle of the city, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And Daniel and his friends are taken away as captives into this new land, and they're seduced by this. And they're told, you're going to learn the language, and you're going to learn the literature. That's what we're told here in chapter 1, in verse 4. Here are young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. And one of the chief officials of the king, it says, he was to teach them the language and the literature of the Babylonians. And so they were going to become indoctrinated into the way of doing things in Babylon. I mean, it was like Disneyland. I mean, just everything that you wanted was there. And we're told that down here in chapter 1 and verse 8, I love this, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and the wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself in this way. He said, I am a Jewish young man, and I serve my God, and I hold to my faith, and that's important to me, and I'm going to stand firm here. And he does, and you see that all throughout his life in Babylon. And because of that, God blesses him. God blesses him. Don't be seduced by the culture around you. Don't be seduced and brought under its power. Scripture says, don't be conformed to the world's way of doing things, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's such an important place where we are in our world today. We need to be like Daniel, and we need to stand firm. God bless you.